Jest is a clean and concise JavaScript testing framework that is developed and maintained by Facebook. Since it is capable of doing many things, in this lesson we'll solely focus on how to test synchronous and asynchronous functions and how to create and use a special type of functions called mock functions. So let's consider the following add function that either returns the sum of two integers or throws a type error if any of the parameter is not a number. To write a test for it, we can use the test function that takes as argument a string of characters describing the test and a callback function. Within this callback function, we can use the expect function that takes as argument the value we want to test and chain it to a set of matchers that will let you validate different things. Like for instance, if we want to assert that add 1 and 2 returns 3, we can use the toEqual matcher the following way. On the other hand, if we have several tests that belong to the same scenario, we can regroup them all together by wrapping them in the describe function that takes the same parameters as the test function we've just used. Note that in order to test if a function throws, we have to declare it within another function, as otherwise the error will not be caught by the Jest framework. Let's now consider the following fetch function that takes as argument a number and either returns a resolved promise if the number is even or an unresolved promise otherwise. To write a test for it, we can define an asynchronous callback function within the test function and use the await keyword within it. On the other hand, to test if a function returns a rejected promise, we must wrap the function call in a try-catch block and perform our assertion within the catch, as it will otherwise be ignored by Jest. A mock function is a special type of function that allows us to temporarily override the implementation of a single function or an entire module to give it another behavior. It also allows us to track how it is called by external code by capturing how many times it has been invoked, with what parameters, and what it returned. To demonstrate this, let's consider the following proxy function whose job is to execute a callback with the provided data. To assert that the callback function is actually invoked, how many times and with what parameters during the execution of the proxy function, we can create a mock using the jest.fn function, call the proxy function using this mock, and test this mock using a combination of expect and one of the following self-descriptive matchers. Now, if we wanted to completely override the behavior of a function, we could define its new implementation directly within the fn function itself. On the other hand, to override the return value of a function instead of its implementation, we can either use the mock return value once function that will return a defined value for the next call only, or use the mock return value function instead that will return a defined value for all of the calls.